This is Synyster and Zacky V from Avenged Sevenfold, hosting their own radio show as part of Octane's A7X Week.
Wow, what a great audience. That was an incredible song. I got a few to play you bastards myself. So basically, this is a band that when I first heard them, I lost my mind. My dad actually introduced me to this band. Pantera. Probably the heaviest thing, and still reigning supreme, the heaviest band of all time. You know, I used to refer to Dime as raping and pillaging the guitar, and always aspired to do so myself, with a little bit of failure thrown in that mix. But it really stems from this song. This one's off Far Beyond Driven. It's called Throes of Rejection.
Zacky V here from Avenged Sevenfold. We have hijacked Octane, which will now be referred to as the Seventh Lair. For the next couple hours, we're going to be playing you our favorite songs and giving you a little bit of a history lesson as to why they should be your favorite songs as well. I'm going to take you to a darker, evil place with this next band, who's one of my favorite new bands to hail from Sweden, or the depths of hell, depending on how you look at it. I like that one better. Ghost BC. They are pretty satanic, pretty awesome, yet soothing to listen to. We got the chance to see these guys play live. We're taking them out on our October tour that should be coming to arenas across all of America, and we're pleased to kind of introduce them to our fan base. You know, this song is called Secular Haze, and it's one of my favorites, so hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, this is Synyster Gates from Avenged Sevenfold, and you're listening to the Seventh Lair, brought to you by us, Avenged Sevenfold, on Sirius XM Octane. Basically what we're doing here is just hanging with you guys and giving you a brief history lesson on what influenced us to do the things that we do that are starting to piss off the masses at this point. So I'm going to get to something pretty fucking ridiculous here. This is a band that the Rev introduced me to. The band's called Mr. Bungle. You may have heard of Mike Patton, the vocalist. He's played with so many different acts, one of which would be Faith No More on the more popular spectrum. But just a really ridiculous band that came to shape kind of my interior, with the other ones my exterior. But this one's definitely ridiculous. This one's called My Ass Is on Fire.
Coming back at you, Zacky V here alongside Synyster Gates from Avenged Sevenfold. We are playing you some of our favorite, and your soon-to-be favorite, if not already, songs from the past, the present, and as of this moment, the future. Hail to the King is out now. This song you may not have heard yet. It's called Shepherd of Fire. It is our intro track to the album. Basically, we wanted to set things off and kind of drag you down to hell and set the tone. So here it is, Shepherd of Fire.
Yo, what's up? This is Synyster Gates with you again from Avenged Sevenfold on our takeover on Sirius XM Octane called The Seventh Lair. One of the very few beginnings of what I believe to be the creators of heavy metal. So, I mean, you have bands like Black Sabbath, which is obvious, maybe not to everybody, but definitely considered by many to be the sole creators. But a lesser-known character would be a particular song by one of the most legendary bands of all time, transcending not just metal, but rock, everything under the sun. This is a band called the Beatles, and this song is called Helter Skelter, which I believe to be one of the first heavy metal songs ever written by the great Paul McCartney. This song really shaped me as far as understanding riffs, and this definitely shaped my perception of what a heavy rock song should be based about and around. And the vocals are just absolutely incredible, and if you consider the time that this was written and performed and executed and received, it's quite mind-boggling. So here it is on the Seventh Lair, baby. Beatles, Helter Skelter.
What's up, guys? Zacky V here from Avenged Sevenfold on Sirius XM Octane. We are taking over, and it will now be referred to as the Seventh Lair from here on out, playing you the music you need to be listening to. And if you don't want to be listening to it, you should probably change the station and listen to some pussy shit on something else. But we got good stuff for you. I'm going to hit you with a little bit of AC/DC, Hell's Bells, from the blackest of the black albums, Back in Black. one of my personal favorite songs on that album. It's dark, it's awesome. I'm sure many people have had lots of sex to it, and you were probably conceived to it. So you can thank AC/DC for being alive. Hell's bells.
Yo, what's up? This is Synyster Gates, back at ya. We're here just hanging out, riffing about some riffage. So we were honored when they asked us to do a kind of a collaborative thing where we could come in and kind of take over and play some of the songs that help shape us, as well as just personal favorites and just stuff that we like, that we might like to share with you. Hopefully you've heard of and maybe you haven't, and then we're here to educate. So I have a couple of other bands that we'd like to play. This one really shaped what we are trying to do on this record, Hail to the King. There's a band called Led Zeppelin. I'm sure everybody's heard of them. The great Jimmy Page started off as a studio musician, which I can relate to. That's kind of what my father did and what I was looking to do. And I mean, he played with everybody under the sun, from the Who to with Jeff Beck, the Yardbirds. I mean, he even had traces and relationships with guys in the Rolling Stones. I mean, he was on everything that came out of England at that time. So basically, he went in to do his own thing with three other guys that could have led a band themselves. I mean, just one of the greatest drummers of all time, greatest bassists and keyboard players, organists. I mean, just a freak. And I mean, you don't have any better hard rock voice than Robert Plant, certainly. And then as a songwriter and a producer, I mean, this guy just absolutely fucking killed it. So like I said, really helped shape what we really wanted to convey on this record, Hail to the King. We really wanted a riff-based, huge, sonic, fucking ball-crunching album. And the first song that I was introduced to by this band, Led Zeppelin, was Black Dog. So I'd like to share that one with you. It's all about the riff, one of the most innovative drum beats of all time. I remember the Rev and I and even Zacky here would just sit and just trip out and try and play the drums, the way that Bonzo used to play them, and just kind of have a meltdown because you don't really quite understand what the fuck's going on with it. So anyway, here it is, Black Dog by Led Zeppelin.
What's up, everybody? Zacky V here, alongside Synyster Gates from Avenged Sevenfold. You're listening to Sirius XM Octane, that will now be referred to as the seventh layer, while we pick some of our all-time favorite songs and shove them down your throats. With that said, this next band, System of a Down, personally, it doesn't get much better than this. As far as heavy metal, hard rock, whatever you want to call it, these guys are completely unique, completely inspiring. We've had the privilege and pleasure of sharing the stage with them on multiple occasions across multiple continents, and they never cease to amaze. This song is called BYOB, and there's so many songs to choose from that it's hard to do, but I picked this one because it's a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're taking over Sirius XM Octane, now commonly referred to as the seventh layer. So we're going to play you one of our own tracks. I think this is probably one of my favorite tracks on the record. It's a slow groove, slow jammer. I think it's some of the best drumming on the record. I mean, it's from a maturity standpoint. If you really delve into it, it's played from like an orchestrative standpoint. I mean, Aaron came in and absolutely just killed it. We asked him to definitely overplay, but not in the sense that we have ever done before. So I think people were kind of tripping out when they heard this approach, but I guarantee you when you delve into this stuff and analyze it, there's so much cool stuff going on, and it's just it all suits the song absolutely brilliantly. Personally, I think Aaron came in and absolutely killed it. First time working with him in the studio, for a compendium of music with a vibe and an idea and a philosophy, and he killed it. This is based on a singular riff, we're used to throwing everything in the kitchen sink into a song, into a record, and you get a lot of saturated shit, which is sometimes fun and sometimes cool, and we're glad that we did it. But on this record, we wanted just to live and die by that riff. So this is it. Some crazy drumming, some crazy vocals, some ridiculous fucking colorful guitar solo from my dad. And here it is on Sirius XM Octane.
Hey Octane, this is Zacky V from Avenged Sevenfold. You're listening to the Seventh Lair. We are bringing you some of our favorite heavy metal, hard rock, and punk rock tracks of all time. And it wouldn't be quite right if we didn't play some Metallica. Wherever I May Roam is a song that, as I've grown up and been able and fortunate enough to tour, it really resonates with me, really hits home. You can understand where James Hetfield's coming from after you've traveled around to faraway lands and waking up in new spots. To me, this is a perfect heavy metal song. It's perfect not only in the fact that when they wrote the Black Album and released it, it redefined and set the standard for all of heavy metal from that point until the rest of history. But it also pissed off a lot of people, which is something I'm a huge fan of doing. And I'm sure some of you out there listening to this right now, enraged. So I feel like I'm doing my job as well. And I happen to be in Avenged Sevenfold, in case you didn't catch that. You're listening to the Seventh Lair, Metallica, Wherever I May Roam.
Yo, what's up? I'm Synyster Gates from Avenged Sevenfold. And that was some awesome sitar music from the great and legendary Metallica. Man, oh man, it's just been a great time kind of hanging with everybody, and we've never really gotten to do this as extensively as this. So it's really cool. What do you think about that, ZV?
Yeah, it's awesome. We get to force feed some of our favorite music to our fans and hopefully turn them on to something maybe they haven't heard before, so they can enjoy their car rides or wherever they happen to be.
Yeah. So thank you, Sirius XM Octane, for letting us take over. This is really, really great. So back to the Seventh Lair, more importantly. Here are a few more songs, one of which is a cover. This is a Black Sabbath cover. This song is absolutely incredible. I love the crazy voice that he was kind of doing at that time. There was only a couple albums where he did it. The first Mr. Bungle album and the first Faith No More record, where he has this 70s kind of, I don't know, it's absolutely ridiculous. Super whiny, super out of control. But yeah, just so charismatic and compelling. So this is one of the greatest covers, in my humble opinion, of all time. This is War Pigs by Faith No More.
Sirius XM Octane. What's up, everybody out there? This is Zacky V from Avenged Sevenfold. I'm going to play you a personal favorite of mine. This song is called Rise Above from Black Flag. These guys defined a generation of punk rockers and inspired many, many, all sorts of bands. Even whenever you see Henry Rollins, it's always a intimidating, scary sight. But, he knows exactly what he's trying to accomplish. And I was privileged enough to receive an email from him not too long ago, basically reminding me to tell major labels to fuck themselves when they had a problem with me wearing one of a Black Flag shirt. So he was on my side. It was pretty cool to get an email from Henry Rollins. Huge fans. Black Flag, Rise Above.
Hi kids, this is Synyster Gates from Avenged Sevenfold, and you're listening to the fucking Seventh Lair and nothing else at all. And we're playing songs for you, stuff that we like. Hopefully you like them too, and if you've never heard them, hopefully you're getting an edumacation. We've been having a great time doing this stuff. I think Johnny's jerking off in the corner over there just watching us. He wants to come in and hang too, but we're not really letting him. So he will be chained up there, and he'll watch us drink beer and do other things, unmentionable things in the corner. But for right now, let's play some more music for you guys. Can't do a segment on the Seventh Lair without playing a little Guns N' Roses, one of the greatest rock bands of all time, and they're more of a punk rock band to me than they are a rock and roll band. Certainly at the time that they were doing this stuff in like the early 90s, I mean, these guys just broke all the rules. After everything was so polished and crazy, they just came out and just with razor blades cut up the rock and roll scene, the traditional rock and roll scene. That was all glossy and glam and all that kind of shit. So this is kind of basically about kind of the lifestyle, and I just kind of love how eclectic Axl's voice is. And I mean, when I first heard this, I was already a Guns N' Roses fan. I was super young at the time, so I really didn't know. I didn't have the material. I just knew that I loved them. So when I heard this song, I was like, who the fuck is that band? Because he was doing a low vocal throughout, and I had only heard Axl like that. So when I heard Mr. Brownstone, I fucking had a meltdown. I was like, that's Axl, that's the same band. Fuck, dude. The well's pretty deep with those guys. So here it is, Mr. Brownstone, on Sirius XM Octane.
Hey, what's up, guys? Zacky V from Avenged Sevenfold coming back at you on Sirius XM Octane. I'd like to remind you that our new album, Hail to the King, has just been released this week, and we're really proud of it. But speaking of new releases, these guys just came out with a new one. This is Five Finger Death Punch. This song's called Lift Me Up. It's really, really great to see an American heavy metal band really coming through the ranks and making, great music. They had a killer first week, topping over 100,000 albums, which is pretty much unheard of for our style of music these days. So big props to those guys. Really, really proud of them. Going to be doing some touring with them in Europe coming up this fall. Anytime you see any other fellow heavy metal acts doing good things for the genre, doing good things for music, you got to give them props. So with that said, this is Five Finger Death Punch, Lift Me Up.
Yo, what's up? This is Synyster Gates from Avenged Sevenfold, and we are taking over Sirius XM Octane. There's a story about this band that I shouldn't share, but, caution to the fucking wind. This band's called Megadeth, and we just recently played a festival in which they were playing right before us, and we came on stage, and Johnny started pretty much just testing out his bass rig to see if everything was turned on. It was literally 2 minutes before we walked on stage, and we were just in the highest spirits listening to Megadeth play Holy Wars right before we were about to walk on. So it was pretty legendary for us at that moment. He played a little line off of one of his favorite records of all time, Velvet Revolver. I don't know if that's one of his favorites. I don't give a shit, though, about anything that Johnny Christ likes. And it was super loud. It was just insanely loud. And Dave Mustaine, I think, was saying goodnight or some shit along those lines, just gotten done. And he heard it from the other stage and just lost his shit and said to the fans, when we're done playing, I want everybody to go over there and kick Avenged Sevenfold's bass tech's ass. And we thought it was pretty funny because it was actually Johnny. We felt a little bad fucking with the show, but that's what happens at festivals. If you're getting ready to play and you don't hear drums being checked or whatever, then you're not at a festival. Anyway, thought that was pretty funny because Mustaine had a little bit of a meltdown, but we're huge fans, so I'm going to play that shit anyway. This one's called Holy Wars.
What's up, guys? Zacky V from Avenged Sevenfold here. We have taken over Octane, which will now be referred to as the Seventh Lair, while we play you some of our favorite tracks. Hopefully you enjoy them. This is one of my all-time favorite bands. You may have heard of them. They feature a member, a little guy known as Glenn Danzig. They're called the Misfits, and they're from New Jersey, Jersey. These guys started an entire genre of, horror, punk rock, and, when you can get your point across in a 2-minute or under song and have, people listening to it and growing up on it, 30 years later, I think you're doing your job right. This is the only band that I've actually gotten a tattoo of in my life. Therefore, they're pretty special to me. The Misfits. This song is called Hybrid Moments.
Yo, what's up? This is Synyster Gates from Avenged Sevenfold, and you're listening to the Seventh Layer. I hope you're enjoying it. We're having a great time, just kind of hanging here. We locked the door on our manager because he was trying to tell us stuff to say, and I don't know. I think he should be best served getting some beer, doing something like that. So anyway, door's locked. We're uninterrupted. We're hanging, just me and ZV here from Avenged. And let's see. I want to play some pioneering-ass fucking heavy metal. Just the real shit. But this isn't probably a song that everybody would be familiar with. But the band is Black Sabbath. And if you don't know Black Sabbath, then you've been living in a fucking cave. These guys, they started it all, with the exception of that one song, Helter Skelter by the Beatles. These guys just did it. They started a whole genre of music, one of the biggest genres of music. Definitely the biggest genre of music with the most diehard fans, just rabid, crazy. They started a culture, or a counterculture, if you will, of immense proportions. And this is one of my favorite Black Sabbath songs, partially just because, or a large portion of that because of the lyrics. I have no fucking clue what he was referring to when he was talking about fairies wearing boots. But anyway, he's a fucking genius. I won't question any of that shit, that's for sure. Beyond my pay grade. So here it is, Fairies Wear Boots.
Zacky V here on Sirius XM Octane. Right now, I'm going to play for you a song called Wasted Years by a little band called Iron Maiden. We have been so very fortunate enough to have shared the stage with these metal gods and giants in Europe, and we've been able to learn from them and be inspired throughout. These guys are flying airplanes, hitting golf balls into buildings, taking over entire continents, you name it. These guys are just the masters. And to see them live in action, so much energy, and they have literally generations upon generations of, a fan base. You see grandparents taking their kids there, taking their grandchildren to see Iron Maiden. It's a scary task to open for them, but definitely understandable. We were honored when we were able to do it. This is my personal favorite song of theirs, and it's called Wasted Years from Iron Maiden. Hope you enjoy.
Yo, what's up? This is Synyster Gates from Avenged Sevenfold, and you're listening to The Seventh Lair, brought to you by the great people at Sirius XM Octane. I'm going to be cheeky and just play another one of our tracks. I'm really excited about our new record, Hail the King, was just released. So I'm just going to play probably my favorite track on the record. This one's called Planets. It's based on intergalactic apocalypse. It's really ridiculous. It was a tough one to write. It's definitely one of the more progressive songs, more cinematic. Had a lot of fun hanging in the studio with David Campbell. He did a lot of arrangements for Metallica, string orchestral type stuff. So we had a lot of fun just putting this song together, piecing it together. It's really dissonant. Spent a lot of time with the arrangements so that they'd fuck with your ear, but you'd get that tension and resolution and stuff, which is definitely a very important part of music, along with psychotic modulation and other stupid words that, if you don't know them, which I don't, you should look them up, which I currently am. So here you go. Without further ado, here's Planets.
Thank you all for listening to The Seventh Lair on Sirius XM Octane. We are Avenged Sevenfold. You got Zacky V here alongside Synyster Gates. We just want to really thank you all for spending this time with us so we could penetrate your ears with some of our favorite heavy metal, punk rock, classic rock, hard rock, fucking you name it kind of songs of all time. Got anything to add to that, Mr. Synyster Gates?
No, just thank you, and hope you enjoyed it.
We'll see you on the road this October. We'll be touring all across America in arenas near you. Peace.